microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
3. What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here. New episode of the Microdose as per usual. Thank goodness. You know what? We're gonna get right into it. Award season has been on the horizon here, and we finally got the master list of people contending for a little gold trophy. And with me, my main man, the funniest man in the room, Drew Angelman. Drew, happy Oscars nomination such and so thing.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that I'm actually surprised that it feels like everything that I listen to and watch felt like this was very predictable. And I can't help but to possibly agree, because normally coming into the Oscar nominations, I've come into these Oscar nominations seeing as little as like two or three Best Picture nominees, and most years I come in around 4 to 6 when they finally get nominated. I've seen 7. I almost saw 8. We talked about just off the podcast that I was supposed to go see Poor Things this afternoon, and I didn't. If I would have seen it today, it would have made 8 out of 10 that I've already seen, which is kind of shocking. I'll be honest. It's weird. We'll get into it as we talk about it, but I was just surprised when the nominees actually came out, and I went, wow, I've seen a good chunk of these already. Like, normally I have to do my homework and hurry it up, but I'm feeling jealous. Way ahead. Yeah.
Good for you. No, when the list came out this morning, I'd only seen 4 of the 10. And by the way, like 10 subjects were not guaranteed. So for whatever reason, we got all 10 again this year. Before this recording, I have now seen 5. That is half of the list. I went to go see Poor Things this afternoon. Not impressed. Not thrilled about it. Definitely felt like homework going into it. And while I had to like do that thing, like just open your mind, Kush. Open your mind. Like don't go into this with a cunty heart. Like just embrace it, dude. This is a new thing, a new experience, and I still didn't like it. Yeah, I don't know why this. I kind of know why this is on the Best Picture list, but at the same time, just like, why this one? Really? Like, dude, kids, you want a really fun movie about a chick who's dead and then comes back to life and then gets thrown into sexual slavery? Go watch Frankenhooker from 1992. That shit is amazing. Okay, I think it's Frank Henenlotter, but Frankenhooker, same goddamn thing. Only this one is very more magical and it's more of a fantasy fairy tale. Willem Dafoe is great in everything he does. But at the same time, it's just like, fuck all of this. I had the worst goddamn time watching Poor Things today.
And that's tough because it is like 2 hours and 21 minutes. And
was I in there that long? Fuck.
If I've noticed that that if you don't just like get into a movie that's like passes that 2 hour mark, for me in particular, I have the worst time. That happened in Jurassic World, I think Fallen Kingdom, whenever it was, the third one, and then House of Gucci. Those two were both over 2 hours, and I had the most miserable time when watching those movies. So, yeah, I've heard really good things. I've also heard people say that movie isn't the best that director has done, but they do like understand why it's nominated and stuff and why people are kind of gravitating towards it. So I haven't seen anything he's done. So I'm kind of intrigued by some of his other works before this one.
I can tell you that the sets are really sweet. Like these are full practical sets. I think there's very little green screen, with the exception of like some background shots and maybe some B-roll. Okay, like the sets are fantastic. The costumes are they're above and beyond. I'm not much of a seamstress myself, but like I recognize, like, wow, a lot of effort went into this production here. Willem Dafoe, like I said, what is he bad in? Nothing. He's been in a lot of bad stuff. He's not bad in anything though. And then his makeup, like, I mean, I would like to make a joke about it's nice to let Willem Dafoe use his real face. No, man, like he's full on, like he's been pieced together. Like 8/10 of his face is sewn on, dude. Like it's a very fantastic look. And by the way, Emma Stone, there's this whole thing with like, well, is Lily Gladstone gonna get? No, she's not actually. I think Emma Stone actually has like a full on arc, and there's an evolution to her whole character with the acting. Also, props to you, Emma Stone. You found a way to get completely naked and make sure no one ever uses this for spank bank material. Like this is the most unsexiest nudity I've ever seen in my life. Like, and she is not an unattractive lady by any means. Like, congratulations, she broke the code.
I'm very intrigued because I'm coming from somebody who hasn't run a movie podcast in quite some time.
Mhm.
But you are somebody who runs a movie podcast. I'm intrigued to hear which movies have you not seen that were
Oh,
nominated for
oh,
Best Picture.
yeah. Let me pull it up right here. I got that written down.
Also, I do want to mention that I'm also I don't see just the best pictures. I normally try to see the movies that were nominated
Mm-hmm.
in like the top 5 categories of best lead actor, lead actress. And so in saying that, it's not just the 10 movies, it's like the added movies of like Naiad this year and also Rustin. So I've actually just watched Naiad today, and I really enjoyed that movie. I thought Annette Bening and Jodie Foster both were incredible in it. They're not going to win their categories, but I thought it was actually a really well done movie that I watched while walking on the treadmill this afternoon on
Where is
Netflix.
Naiad playing? Because I had never heard of that before this morning.
It's
But I'm intrigued.
it's on Netflix right
It's on
now. It was
Netflix.
just
Okay.
it was just added this week, like before all this was dropped.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Jodie Foster. I would like to see what this Naiad is all about. That and then hey guys, Kush Hayes here. I'm doing the editing on this, and the segment we're about to talk about. I meant to be talking about Zone of Interest, not Anatomy of a Fall. I know what Anatomy of a Fall is about. Zone of Interest is what I meant to say here. So that's just wanted to get that correction in there. Carry on. So, Anatomy of a Fall. Also, never heard of that before today. Looked at the trailer just before you logged on to our chat here, Drew Angelman. I don't know what it's about. I have a feeling like something around the Holocaust is about to happen, but like it's definitely a foreign film, and it's not giving me any. Even in the subtitles, it's not telling me what this is about.
It's from what I've heard, because it has not been playing around me. This is a foreign film that's had a very limited release. I've heard that it is a suspicion of somebody is found dead, and then the whole movie is taking place in trying to figure out what happened to the person. And you're like following the detectives, following the people, getting backstory. What has it? What is this like repercussions to the people that were affected by this and who their family is and everything? I heard it's based off of a play, but it's heavily influenced by the play because wouldn't translate fully to movie. So I heard it's really, really good, but like you, I haven't been able to find it. It doesn't play near me. It's a very foreign artsy film that I'm hoping I can see it, at least if it comes on a streaming service like Prime or something, now that it's been nominated for an Academy Award.
Well, so the major chains are usually pretty good about re-releasing the at least as many of the best pictures as they can. Like Maestro, I have not seen Maestro, but I know that's on Netflix, so that's where I'll end up seeing that. American Fiction, I know has been out for like at least 5 weeks now, and has not been playing anywhere near me, which is crazy because I live in a metropolis. Like,
yeah. It's actually really funny how I saw American Fiction because my AMC likes to like send me emails because I'm on the A list, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to go see an advanced screening of a movie?" And I'm like, "Boy, would I? What is it?" And they go, "We're not going to tell you. We're just going to tell you the time, how long it is, and what the rating is.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then we're not going to tell you anything." And so I did one in November, late November, and that was the Taika Waititi movie. The soccer one. I can't remember what it's called, but I was like, "Oh, that was pretty good." So then I left, and I got an instant email being like, "Hey, would you like to do one in December?" And I was like, "Sure." And I signed up for it, and I saw the runtime, I saw the rating, and I tried to guess these movies, and I guessed the Taika Waititi one right. So then I was looking through all the movies to see what movie it could be, and I was like, I think it's gonna be American Fiction. And the movie started, and it was American Fiction, and I was like, awesome. I'm cool with watching this. So I saw an advanced screening of it before it even released, and I thought it was really, really good. I'm very happy to see both Jeffrey Wright and Sterling K. Brown both get nods and nominations here, even though I don't think they're going to win their categories. I'm just glad that they got nods for their acting in this movie. I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah, man, those guys are both kick-ass actors, dude. And then, I don't have the best actor list in front of me, but I feel like Jeffrey Wright. I mean, a lot of people are betting on Cillian Murphy, but I could see Jeffrey Wright taking it.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, I can. Back to the mystery movie gimmick. Like, so Regal's been doing that for about a year and a half now, and it's not every Monday. It's sometimes twice a month, sometimes once every other month. Again, it all depends on the promotion. It's never going to be a big Marvel movie. A lot of people are very confused about that.
Yeah,
it's never going to be a big blockbuster studio picture. A lot of people still don't understand that. But yeah, Regal's been doing that for a while. Again, it's only $5, and then if you're part of the club thing, it's free. It's just 50 cents or whatever it is. And then AMC just started doing it. Every time they do this, though, I'm in the middle of a Waffle Box recording, so like I've been able to go twice, and I've had a good time both times. I saw Zac Efron in an Apple TV movie. They were both Apple TV movies, but it was the greatest beer run in history. By the way,
yeah.
It was the greatest beer run in history, but it was also the stupidest idea, the sweetest yet stupidest idea that anyone could have ever had. And then I saw the Will Ferrell musical, whatever, A Christmas Carol, where he's a musical with Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that dude's name is blanking on me, but anyways, I got to go to one in Amsterdam, and it ended up being one of the Nick Cage movies, and I forget the guy who was with him. Oh, John, the guy from Suicide Squad. He also played RoboCop, the new RoboCop, which was 10 years old now.
Joel Kinnaman. Gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Sympathy for the Devil. And I was kind of disappointed with that, because it's literally just two dudes talking in a car, two dudes talking in a diner, two dudes talking in the front of the diner, two dudes talking while they've just shot each other. Like it's the most mellowest of dramas you've ever seen. You're just like, I sure hate it that it's 9 hours ahead of time here. Oh my god.
But yeah, it makes sense why they would do that. Like, I understand why they do that gimmick, because
it's good promotion. It's fun
because it gets you intrigued. It's the mystery. They're worried that if they put up there that it's American Fiction or the Taika Waititi soccer movie on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m., that not a ton of people would be jumping at it. But hey, if it's a shroud of mystery, maybe they would. And they sucked me into it. So I mean, I can't knock it, because I got to see two really good movies that I may have. I personally don't like going to the movies late at night on like a weekday. So to me, I probably would have said no, but just because of the mystery to it, I was like, yeah, I want to go see it. And I'm glad I did. Both movies were really, really good.
And the other theater goers get into it too, man. All the Facebook groups I'm in, everyone's like, what do you think it's going to be this week? Like people throw up polls. Again, everyone's like, well, I saw that's 123 minutes and it happens to be rated R. And the next thing that's 125 minutes, also rated R, comes out in 4 days. So I think I'm going to be like people get theories about it, the whole thing. There was one that just came out the other day, two Hemsworth brothers. One that I did not even know existed were in this, and the poster is pretty badass. But I had never heard of the movie before. I don't know if a trailer is even available right now. But everyone came out was like, "This was badass." Like usually people are a little lukewarm, like, "I could have waited for Apple TV or Netflix or whatever." Like, but everyone's like, "Dude, this movie kicked ass." And I was like, I would have liked to have been a part of that.
It was. There was two different responses to each of the two movies I went to, because the one with the Taika Waititi, everybody kind of like cheered when they realized it was the Taika Waititi movie. So I was like, I'm loving this. I love this crowd right now. And then when I was walking into American Fiction, I spied a family where it was a mom and a dad and like a pretty youngish teenage boy.
Okay.
And they were like, we're gonna see a movie. It's it's a mystery thing. It's rated R. We'll let you see this rated R movie and everything. And in my mind, I was going, you're not the demographic for if this is gonna be American Fiction. And right when the movie started, you heard some claps, and I was very excited. And then when I left, I was walking past that family because I got up and I was running out of the theater just because I wanted to get home. But I also wanted to hear what they had to say, and they said exactly what I thought they were going to say. They were like, "Well, that was a movie," and I was like, "Yep, I expected that from you."
Oh, well, they I mean, that's the mystery. They can't all be for everybody.
Yeah.
I almost threw my shoe at a guy because the lights went low. And again, just as we discussed, it's never going to be a major blockbuster. It's not going to be a big title. They want this good word of mouth to get out if people like it. And as soon as the lights went down, someone was like, Creed 3. And I was like, Creed 3 is literally playing at a theater down the street and has been advertised because it is actually a specific sneak preview from the people at Paramount or Warner or whoever produced it. I was like you wanted Creed 3? It is literally 3 miles that way, man.
Yeah. How terrible marketing if somebody actually was like, we should not don't tell everybody it's Creed 3. More people would come to it if they were told it was Creed 3 and you could see the movie. Like, why would they hide that? That's so funny. That is so great.
It literally hurts my heart, like feeling and not being able to say anything. It was like, so, but we still got a couple of these movies here. So, like I've seen The Holdovers, I've seen Killers of the Flower Moon. Maestro is on Netflix. We're gonna have to catch that. We've seen Oppenheimer. Past Lives is kind of a shocker here. I haven't seen it. I see all the trailers. I was like, that looks really sweet. And then I have no idea if it even made it to my local theater here. It probably went to the AMC, which I decided to not get stabbed at. But Past Lives, have you seen it?
Yes, I have. Out of the movies we've listed, I've seen American Fiction. I've seen The Holdovers. I recently saw The Holdovers because it's on Peacock now, and I had no idea. And I'll tell you right now, I've seen majority of these movies, 7 out of 10, and I have to say The Holdovers is probably my favorite and most rewatchable on this one, on this list from this list. But going with it, Killers of the Flower Moon, of course, I've seen it. Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio. I was going to definitely go see that movie regardless. Maestro, I watched it on Netflix just because I thought it was going to be here. And I hope it doesn't win. It's not that great, in my opinion.
You're the second person I've heard say that today.
Oppenheimer was good, and Past Lives was incredible. I was actually am one of the people that liked it, but didn't expect it to be on here because it's like everywhere, everything everywhere all at once, where it came out so early on in the year that I didn't think it would have staying power.
Sure.
To get to this point where it would still have that steam. I actually thought that December maybe would have been on here. Maybe The Color Purple would have been nominated for Best Picture over Past Lives. But seeing Past Lives, I'm happy that it's getting a nod, but I am just shocked that it got this far. I loved it. It's very somber. It's very a personal movie about past love and what could have happened if somebody didn't move out from their home country to go to America and left a love interest behind, and then they grow up and kind of never rekindled things, and you're just following them through the day of like reconnecting and everything. It's very beautiful. I loved it. But yeah, I'm very surprised that it was even nominated, but I'm happy it's nominated.
Do you know, is it A24? Is it a foreign film? Oh, it's A24.
Yeah, it's A24. That's another reason why I connected it to Everything Everywhere All at Once, that it was an A24 film that came out so early on in the year. But Everything Everywhere All at Once kept on staying around. Like everybody kept talking about it. It's super unique, and then it started gaining even more traction the farther out from its release date. Past Lives kind of, I felt, came and went, and then it kind of, I don't know, fizzled out a little bit, but enough people liked it to get it nominated here. So
really,
yeah.
As we just said, I saw the Poor Things and hated that. And then again, Zone of Interest, which we talked about a little earlier today. I have no idea what that's even about.
Same here. I listened to a podcast earlier talking about the snubs and everything and predictions, and they were very vague in what the zone of interest was, but just kind of like the Anatomy of the Fall. It has I haven't really seen anything about it around me, so it's just weird. But hopefully it'll come somewhere from the streaming services or even go to my AMC or something so I can go see it one of these weeks. But that one's a blind spot for me. I mean, Poor Things was almost out of my theater. It had one showing today that I was going to go to in the afternoon. I just couldn't make it. So I'm sure that that's going to start igniting to where it'll get more screen times. But yeah, those are the ones that I keep on. That's kind of out there for me.
I saw a trailer for Anatomy of a Fall again while I was in Amsterdam, and I was just like, "Ooh, this looks like a very sophisticated, rich thriller." Like, I didn't know the Dutch were doing it like this. And now I don't even know if it made it to the United States. I mean, it must have if it got nominated here. But yeah, that was also an interesting surprise here. Director wise, do you think anybody got snubbed? I kind of think it's weird that Greta Gerwig is not on the list of five here. But I don't know who
That's
I'd pop out. Even Jorwig, as much as I hate him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one that really like sticks out to me is Greta not getting a nomination here for Barbie.
Mhm.
Um, it's tough with the Barbie stuff. Like, I understand why it. I understand why they wanted to nominate it for certain things.
Mhm.
But you can
Sure.
tell like it wasn't going to be taken seriously here anyways. So I almost feel like there's like a fight or a tug of war where it's like we should nominate it because it was such an impactful movie and a
Mhm.
lot of the young people like it or something like that. But also we think other things are just way more artful. And so I can understand why she didn't get nominated specifically for directing. But I think that it's kind of an oversight in my opinion. But again, I haven't seen Anatomy of Fall and the Zone of Interest. I've heard really good things about them. And then the other three movies, I haven't seen Poor Things either, but I've heard all good things about these movies too. So yeah.
Hmm. Looking at actor role, I think Cillian Murphy is just taking this home. Like I think his name's already engraved on it. I think it's pretty safe to say. But anyone missing from this list or anyone you would swap out? Again, Rustin. I don't know what that is, but I like Coleman Domingo. I would like to see what it is.
Yeah, that one's on Netflix as well. I just
Cool.
saw. So I'm
Nice.
gonna check that out. This is the only nomination of why I would be watching Rustin, apparently.
Hmm.
I really liked Paul Giamatti. I think it's a two-person race between Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy. Either one I think could win. I think everybody else is a distant third, in my opinion.
I gotta tell you, man, I'm in the minority of people who hate the holdovers. However, with the fact that everyone loves it so much, and as much as they love Paul Giamatti, I can also see him stealing
Mhm.
it, for lack of a better word. I can see the holdovers also being the best picture of the year, and I'd be like, really? Wow, I did not see that coming, except for the fact I just said it right here.
Yeah, I think Oppenheimer has a huge hold over uh with how many nominations they've gotten as well as how many awards they've accumulated up to this point. I feel like they're going to be the giant and the ones to win a lot of these nominations to the point where I feel like they would supersede lead actor and maybe give it over to Paul Giamatti for all of his work that he's done throughout his years. And I think he did actually a really good job in that. But I think all these people did great. Besides Cole Domingo, I haven't seen Rustin. That's the only reason why. And I don't want Bradley Cooper. It's just a nod at this point. It's like we saw what you did. Okay, we'll give you a
Mm.
nod and a nominee, but you're not gonna win anything. So it's rough for him. I feel bad for him because he gave it his all and he went on all these press tours and interviews being like how much he was trying to be credible to
Sure.
the maestro and the family and how much he loved being how much he wanted to be a conductor in his life, and how growing up all he wanted to do was conduct, and then he learned how to conduct to be in this movie, and then all for it to not mean anything by award season, man. I'm sorry, but
That
dude,
happens.
did you see what Christopher Nolan did? Come on now.
I mean, sophomoric movie can be sophomoric, so
Yeah.
that's it's a phrase for a reason. But who would you swap out Bradley Cooper with?
Ooh, for a lead role.
Mhm.
Gosh, man. I hold on. I mean, who I
Leonardo
gotta go back.
DiCaprio's missing.
Mm,
I mean, maybe he's not missing, but he's not on the list.
you know what? I probably would go Leonardo over yeah, I would go Leonardo over Maestro, over Bradley Cooper. I mean, I understand what Bradley's doing and I
Mhm.
respect it, but yeah, I would go over Killers of the Flower Moon to have another nomination.
Okay. Mhm. They got a best actress here, like we said. I'm pretty sure, based on what I saw today, and despite the fact that I didn't like the movie, I think Emma Stone has a very, very strong chance of taking it, despite not having seen Naiad. I don't know what Naiad is. You said it's on Netflix, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. And then Anatomy of a Fall. And Miss Fuller is probably not taking that home, but it's nice that she's on the list.
I expect kind of like with the leading actor. I feel like this is a two-person race
Oh, for
between
sure.
Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone, and
Stone
everyone.
versus Gladstone.
Yeah, I think, and then everything else
Mhm.
is a distant third. I could see Carrie Mulligan being in the mix. Maybe Annette Bening because she's been around, kind of like Paul Giamatti. She's been around, has an incredible body of work, and did a lot for Naiad as well in training. But yeah, I
Mhm.
think I think the powerhouses here are Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. And I would give it a toss up 50-50 shot going into the night, depending on who could actually pull out this win.
Best supporting actor. I think it's going to be Ryan Gosling or Robert Downey Jr. It's probably going to be Downey Jr., but again,
Yeah.
Sterling K. Brown is here. I don't think Bobby De Niro is going to take it. And then someone told Mark Ruffalo he's funny, and they were wrong, but he listened to them anyways. Uh,
I I know the sentiment and where you're coming from, and I 100% agree with you. I don't know why I think Mark Ruffalo has this like people try to say that he has this charm about him, and he's like
hmm.
no. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And I think this is easily Robert Downey Jr.'s award, 100%.
Yeah, I think you're right. We got a, I think we got a battle of the lady monologues. Emily Blunt and America Ferrera, and then I haven't seen The Color Purple. Again, I haven't seen Naiad, and then Divine Joy Randolph. She won the Golden Globe. I thought she was the best part of the holdovers, but
Mhm.
after 5 minutes of knowing her character, there's still 120 more minutes of the movie left.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you saying the last time we talked, I hadn't seen The Holdovers yet,
Okay,
and you talked about her performance and her character, and
yeah,
I
she's
agree
great.
with you. I think that she did incredible. I love her. I loved Jodie Foster in Naiad. I loved America Ferrera, and
Mhm.
Emily Blunt she was good. It's just one of those things where I felt like she was given so little to work with, and she did the best with what she was given. But compared to at least America Ferrera, Jodie Foster, and Divine Joy Randolph, I felt like her performance was so much subdued due to what she was given. I mean, she was very much like put in the background. I felt Florence Pugh was given more to work with than what Emily Blunt was. And that's rough to talk about because Emily Blunt was in the movie more than Florence Pugh, but I would give it to Divine Joy Randolph if I were
Okay.
giving out awards. I thought that she did incredible.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, it's a battle of the lady monologues because when
Hmm.
like you said, Emily Blunt isn't given much to work with here, but she takes that one lump of coal and she smashes the shit into a diamond, dude. Like that again, that
Yeah.
monologue where she just cusses everybody out. I was like, you go, bitch. Yes. Like, and then again, America Ferrera had her moment there, and like that, people were literally like going, "You go, girl, and testify," and like that was just the men. Like America Ferrera worked a bunch of people up, so
Yeah.
that's why I think it's definitely going to come down between those two ladies there. And then, I don't know, man. You think I'm missing anything here? We didn't really talk about directors, or did we talk about directors? We might have talked directors already.
Yeah, we talked about directors, about
Did we?
Greta Gerwig kind of
There
getting
you go.
I,
Anything we're missing?
I thought it was interesting that some of the fillers came down to Napoleon, getting Ridley Scott's
Hmm.
movie kind of thrown in there. Again, it was another movie kind of like Past Lives where I kind of forgot about it. Like I remember watching it. I went to the theater to watch Napoleon, but I was kind of intrigued when I saw Napoleon was actually nominated
Mhm,
for few things. I mean, I understand costume design and everything. Like it
mhm,
should get a nod. Even got a nod for VFX,
mhm,
which I was intrigued by, and how that was nominated for VFX while Oppenheimer wasn't, even though it had a ton of practical effects as well. I felt like if you're going to give the nod to Napoleon, you probably should have given the nod to Oppenheimer as well,
yeah.
and it could have tied the record of 14, but eh.
Christopher Nolan's just like, we really set off a nuclear bomb, guys. What the fuck? No,
um
I found Napoleon, despite looking as good as it did, and again, like those battle scenes are pretty impressive. For some reason, completely boring. I don't know what it was.
yeah.
Like I was just like, oh my god, were we still here? Like we're still moving at a pretty fast pace, but all the time it's like,
Oh yeah.
are we still here? And why is everything blue? I get it's winter. What the fuck?
I love the pacing of it because that was a one thing that about the movie that I was nervous about going into it, and it was 2.5 hours. My favorite part of Napoleon is looking up videos of Napoleon
Okay.
on YouTube afterwards and
Um,
seeing how many man babies are crying about how Ridley Scott did Napoleon wrong and made him look like an
oh.
a-hole and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, because he was. Like this wasn't a true adaptation. He was kind of giving up, like, I'm making fun of Napoleon here. And everybody's like, Napoleon was inspirational and all this other stuff. I mean, he was a dictator, but I mean, he was inspirational. And I was like, all right, guys, you're showing that you're not thinking correctly here. It
I
was just really, really funny.
You and I clearly have different feeds because everything I saw was like, why are they glamorizing Napoleon? This motherfucker was a dictator. He was a monster. He killed like so many people died. Like, but like they made him look like a sexy motherfucker, like Joaquin Phoenix. Da, da, da. That, and I also kept hearing people complain about lack of French accent, and I was just like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you fuck guys. If this was really happening in front of us, there wouldn't be a French accent. They would just be speaking French. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
get out of here with the French accent. All right, they're not Frenchmen speaking English. They're just speaking French, and like, get over it.
That was another thing in the YouTube comments was, oh, did you know Napoleon was English and he was talking around France in English and doing horses and stuff? That's so funny. That's
Interesting.
I was laughing so hysterically. I'm like, I'm glad I watched this movie so I can experience it. I would pause the video to read every single comment of people being butthurt about Napoleon looking like an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, because he's making fun of them. I do want to bring up an animated feature film because I
Please.
I think that it's a two picture race here between The Boy and the Heron and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Hmm.
And I just feel like they're going to give it to Miyazaki for it possibly being his last film,
Hmm.
as well as because Across the Spider-Verse is a part one. And I feel like they could give the part two another They're probably going to nominate part two for an Oscar,
Hmm.
and then give that one the Oscar bid instead of giving part one the Oscar this year. I think they're gonna give it to The Boy and the Heron. One, it was great, but two, I think they're going to award Miyazaki for his accomplishments and give it like a lifetime award of accomplishments and everything. So that's what I think they're gonna do.
I have not seen a single Miyazaki film. I know he took the Golden Globe for the best animated film this year, which I kind of thought was surprising. Again, as I said, hasn't haven't seen one of his films, but seen plenty of trailers for his films. And if you took all the title cards out and just smashed all the footage together, I would have thought it would just be one film. What I'm saying is, all of his work, even up to today, his modern stuff, at least based by the trailer, they all look the same. Whereas Spider Verse, Spider Verse improved on its graphics from the last film, which is really
Yeah.
hard to comprehend. However, again, like we said, it took the Golden Globe. Uh, yeah, anything is possible right now, man. Like I'm up in the air.
Yeah. And you never know how this is going to happen because this is kind of like people have been working so hard just to get to this threshold to be nominated. And then this is where the real work begins because now you know your competition kind of vibe. And so I just know like last year it was kind of crazy to see some of the things that were nominated. And then all of a sudden it was like a horse race to the very end. Like once the nominees came out, you had no idea what exactly could win. I just remember last year being like, I hope Everything Everywhere All at Once will win, but there's no way it will because it's just so weird. It's like that was like the People's Champ,
Yeah.
and the People's Champ has not won. It was always something a lot more critically accepted at that point, or not as chaotic, I should say. It's something more pristine that you would feel somebody could look at it being going, that is an Oscar movie, or I see that as like an awards movie. And then all of a sudden it was announced that they kind of like swept the whole night, and it was like kind of weird. So I after last year, I don't think I could ever sit there and be like, I know exactly what could win ever again, just because you never know what people are thinking, who's now voting. I've heard they've added more diverse. They're trying to diversify the voter pool of age and cultural backgrounds and everything. So yeah, you just never know what could happen. And I'm never gonna sit out and think, oh, this is, I know what they're gonna do. I mean, heck, Green Book won one year, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once won, and I don't think anybody saw either one of those coming at one point.
I remember a lot of people already being upset with Green Book for reasons I'm still not really sure about, and it doesn't matter. But when it did win, like people were surprised. I was surprised. I was like, "This is a delightful damn movie," but also I was like, I did not. I was sure that other movie was going to win that week. I don't even remember what it is now because we don't remember the losers.
Yeah, that is a very interesting take because I really can't remember anything else that was nominated that year, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, well, that was 2018. You know that was a whole pandemic ago. So
Yeah, that's true. You get to that thing where a lot of people were talking about how it was, like you said, it was a nice movie. People left it going like, I feel good about it. So it left higher up on the list where there was a couple of polarizing movies where people either loved them or they hated them. And Green Book was just sitting there at like 2 or 3 for a lot of people's lists, and then boom, it came out to number 1 out of the averages. So it's gonna be interesting.
I'm gonna look up what was up against Green Book that year. But while I did, Godzilla minus one actually has a nomination for best visual effect. What do you think about that?
Let's go. That surprised me. You know what else surprised me was I think it's a best original soundtrack or something, or sound or design or something, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny got a nominee, and I fell out of my seat. My eyes got really big when I saw Indiana Jones. Are you kidding me? Like that is wild.
It is crazy because it's like it wasn't a good movie. And then like we like John Williams and we like the Indiana Jones theme, but why do we nominate that again? Like, but at the same time, I guess there wasn't anything. Like I don't. There isn't another song in my head right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think now that I'm looking at it, John Williams did do the score. At least John Williams' company did the score, so I can understand why they would want to give a nod to John Williams, as he is a legendary conductor, composer that has done incredible work throughout his entire career. But my goodness, to be nominated for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is just like, what the heck were we thinking?
I'm sure he's fine. I mean, it's just like, oh, free champagne that night. Oh, I will enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll go in there and sit down. Like, oh man, I guess it just depends on how you look at it. But I don't know if I could go in there only being nominated for one thing and being like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and sit the whole 3 hours and go through that whole ordeal to hope that I win for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
So the 2019, the year Green Book won, when it was a 2018 release, it went up against these other 7 films. All right, or 6 films. It went up Netflix's Roma, which was their first entree.
Oh yeah.
A Star is Born,
Yep. Okay.
Vice, Black Klansman, Black Panther, The Favorite, and then Bohemian Rhapsody. Like this was a crazy year, dude. Like I never saw Roma, but like any of these other movies could have got it that year too.
So that's the thing is that so Roma was the Netflix movie and I watched that whole movie. I liked it.
Okay.
But don't get me, I liked it, but it was also one of those things where, like I was talking about with Everything Everywhere All at Once, that you're watching it going, oh yeah, this is an awards movie. It's black and white. It's one of those like artsy movies. It's just black and white. It's artsy. It has this like story to tell, and it's kind of wild the way it goes about it. But I could see it being so polarizing to where people either loved it or they hated it. And the same thing with Stars Born. I mean, I think a lot of people were in their feelings about it. Like I had a friend who was like dead set that A Star is Born was the best movie done that year, and they wanted to win everything. And I watched it and I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. I understand it. It's cool. Again, maybe I'm just not into Bradley Cooper directed movies, but yeah, that's a wild after you get out of those movies and The Favorite, it kind of gets wild for Bohemian Rhapsody and Black Panther and the Black Klansman and everything. Like that's kind of wow. That was a year. That was a year of movies.
Throw a dart, you know.
Bohemian Rhapsody. That's just so funny. And then Rami Malek went and won for being Freddie Mercury. Wow. Yeah. And it won Best Editing. That was the meme of the whole thing, was that it won for Best Editing, and it was the choppiest editing.
You know what? That editing wasn't bad though, man. Like it was a 2.5-hour music video, and I was just like, all right, we're just jamming out, listening to Queen. That's true. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Interested to see what happens with the Godzilla -1. I've never really had any interest in the visual effects award. I find it interesting that Japan did not submit it for a nomination. They have something else in the picture. I remember when that came out back in, what was it, October, November?
Yeah.
Whenever it came out. Like some folks like a little too boisterous, I guess. They'd be like, it's totally gonna be a best picture. And I was like, no, hold on. Like this movie was amazing. All right. Like I saw it 2 days in a row. Like I almost never do that, dude. Like I saw it opening night on the RPX, and then I was like, yeah, give him $8 more and I'll see it in the 4DX gimmick. All right, like let's do this. Like this movie is crazy. But at no point I was like, yeah, oh sure, best picture. Yeah, you know it. No. That's not happening. Anyway, man, you think we're missing anything? Something else we're overlooking? Anything in the soundtrack department that piqued your interest? Nothing for me. I like the Billie Eilish song.
Yeah. I think that one's a lock for its category as well. No, I'll be real. I'm not a huge fan of the technical awards all that often. I feel like those are a little bit more predictable than say the acting ones. So I kind of steer clear of like going into too deep for those ones.
It's how movies like Transformers and David Ayer's Suicide Squad have Academy Awards now.
Yeah, that's true. I dang it.
Academy Award winning Suicide Squad is what you're supposed to say from forever.
That is
forever.
Man. I forgot about that. But no, I feel like I was looking through it while we were talking about past Academy Awards. I think I do want to say that it's interesting again how many how many of these movies I've already seen, and
Yeah, I'm
how
impressed.
many throughout the year I was willing to see, and not going into it being like, oh, I'm expecting this to be
Mhm.
nominated or be, because sometimes I'll go do that. I'll just watch a movie being like, it's probably going to be nominated, and then I watch this like really boring movie, and then come to find out it doesn't even make the top 10 or something,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Uh,
well, I just wasted my time doing that. Like
So
May
did you end up
December.
seeing Saltburn? I'm sorry to cut you off there, but like Saltburn was like, this is total Oscar bait. I'm not falling for it. Oh my god, I hope I don't have to see this. Oh my god, I hope I don't have to see this. And then this morning I was like, oh thank god I don't have to see this. Like it's been available on Prime for a month. And I was like, I don't want to see Saltburn.
Yeah, I've heard so many people talk so much crap about it, and then it's kind of like throughout the awards ceremony, it hasn't. I too was like saw it, heard about it the same week that it came out, going, I don't want to see this movie. Please, like giving me Triangle of Sadness vibes. I was like, please don't make me see this. And then yeah, I was so glad it didn't even get nominated. But yeah, I didn't see that one. But I've done it in the past, and it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know if it's like more marketable movies that they decided to nominate, if the more higher budget movies were just better this year compared to past years where I just didn't see a lot of the smaller movies, or even like last year. I mean there was movies that I was hitting close to the deadline, like Triangle of Sadness, that luckily was on Hulu, that I didn't have to go out to be disappointed out of my own home.
I think I
But
rented Triangle of Sadness, and then I got an email the next day like Triangle of Sadness now available on Hulu. And I was like, yeah.
but yeah, it's super interesting. It's just really really interesting that I find it very interesting that I've actually seen these movies, or we're interested in seeing these movies throughout the year. Even like May, December, I watched it expecting it maybe to get a nod in the nominees. I think it got a screenplay nomination, but nothing else past that. But I thought it was still a decent movie over at Netflix. But yeah.
I was kind of not surprised that the Iron Claw, that's the pro
Mm,
wrestling family movie, didn't get nominated. Like I thought, what I saw of it was very good. I saw the very first 2 hours, and then for whatever reason the projector glitched, and the last 10 minutes just literally went to shit, which is weird because it's a digital projection. Um, but because I saw so much of it, I did not feel the need to go back and try and rewatch it because I was like,
mhm.
I kind of get what I saw here, but like the entire any emotional impact that had been built up to that moment, I was just like, yeah, nah, no worries.
That I will say that that one does feel like a weird one looking back on it, because it is an A24 film. It
Mm-hmm.
is a more serious film. And by the trailers, I would have felt that it would have been in some awards talk, to
Mm-hmm.
the point where I wanted to see it regardless. But it was like, I should go see this because it is probably going to get some nod somewhere in some of these categories. And it kind of fell off the cliff.
Yeah,
It fell
right.
off the edge of the earth, and I never heard of it. I mean, I never heard anybody talk about it. I didn't, besides you, I never heard anybody say anything
Oh,
about it.
fascinating.
I even went to go look for times, and it's only has one screen time when I was like getting ready to
Wow.
like make a, I was like, wow, what, like A24 just kind of like threw it out there in December and was just like, you see it. We got to go push past lives out there for
I'll
everybody.
I don't know what they were showing you in Florida out there, but like they gave it a very good promotional run out here. Like everyone was on
Mhm.
Kill Mill. There was my YouTube feed is being flooded. I don't even watch pro wrestling anymore, so I'm not getting any pro
Mhm.
wrestling clips. I'm just getting shit for the Iron Claw. But I think everybody just assumed pro wrestling movie and didn't
Yeah.
think like, oh, this is actually like a complex family drama. And then let alone the controversy of they erased an entire brother from the lineage. Like
Yeah.
there was a whole other dude who came, went, and died, and then and it never made the reel. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, that wasn't the best picture. It was very good
I
still for what I saw.
Yeah, I wonder, I hate to say this, but I wonder if like because I'm sure he did a really good job, but I wonder if the casting of Zac Efron could have hindered people taking it too seriously or anything like that. Like you said, I was watching a lot of sports, so
Mhm.
it was getting like put as advertised and put the trailer up. I saw the trailer quite a bit. They just really leaned in heavy with the wrestling aspect of it, and then Zac Efron was put in. I feel like if they had that Jeremy Allen White from The Bear as more of the center focus, because everybody is like super into him and acting and everything nowadays, that maybe people would have taken it a little bit more seriously. Like, oh, this looks really, really dark. Like, I want to go check this out. But I just wonder if because Zac Efron has that experience of being Disney Disney Channel movies and stuff, that they're just like, well, he did 17 again in Baywatch. Like, it can't be like that serious. He looks like Tarzan with his haircut and everything, and how big he is. And it's like, I don't know. I think it looks good, but yeah.
I have no evidence to provide or prove otherwise, but I think Hollywood is rooting for Zac Efron. So yeah, again, I don't know why he possibly got overlooked, but again, maybe even as his best performance, just not good enough yet. You know, like
Yeah.
get Sterling K. Brown in there, or get Jeffrey Wright in there.
Yeah.
They were the stronger ones this year. So that guy's coming into his own. Honestly, I keep forgetting he was a Disney thing.
Yeah, he's definitely pulling away from it. And I do think, like, to your point, this is a very stacked year. I mean, you have movies that did hundreds of millions of dollars being nominated. You got Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig, big names in directing and acting. Margot Robbie wasn't nominated for lead actress on here, so that could have been a snub as well. I mean, it's just this one's a stacked year compared to what we were just talking about with the Green Book nominee year, where they only had 7 movies. I mean, this is 10 movies that a lot of people thought could have been 11 to 12 movies deep. I mean, we're talking about Oscar bait or trophy bait. I mean, you got The Color Purple that came out this year that easily could have gotten a nominee. May December, which is starring Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, that could have been nominated as well. I feel like this is a pretty deep year where people had to make tough decisions on who to nominate, and I think they did overall a decent job. But I mean, if this was if you could nominate like 6 or 7 people, I feel like they would have taken all the spots. Like they would have filled up like so many more spots if they could have done it. So
I'm gonna go out on this question here. The writers and actors strike botched everything for the 3rd and 4th quarter. I know of 2 movies that got bumped. One was Dune Part 2, which was due to be out in that sweet spot in December where everyone gets awarded. And then The Bike Riders, which for some reason got dropped entirely by Spotlight or Silverlight, whatever, Fox Disney. It's now been picked up by another company, and I release date to be determined. But how much of that, like, how much different of a contest do you think this would be if like those 2 movies were still in it? Again, there was plenty of bait pictures that never got picked up.
True, very true. I almost think that it's good for Dune and Oppenheimer to not be nominated this year, because I think if Dune comes out, it's instantly getting into Best Picture territory. I think it's getting a lot of the technical awards. And then at that same instance, I think Oppenheimer and Dune would maybe cannibalize each other's votes at a certain point, to where something else could leak in and maybe take the top spot, kind of like a Green Book. Maybe it is the holdovers that takes over the Oppenheimer spot, that a lot of people think that they have the upper hand. So I almost think it's better for both Oppenheimer and Doom that Doom was pushed back, so that way when it comes out next year, it kind of has an open spot for getting kind of like the amount of awards it did last time when Dune Part 1 comes out. But if Dune Part 2 comes out, I think it easily takes a role here, maybe even Past Lives, which a lot of people think just slipped in, getting the 10th spot. I don't know how much that's true, but I mean, I think it easily takes a spot. And then you got so many other actors and actresses that are now up for grabs in like leading and supporting, as well as all the technical awards. I mean, this could have been easily 13 for Oppenheimer, another 11 to 13 for Dune, and then even taking away some from other movies like Killers of the Flower Moon or Barbie. Even I think Barbie could have been hindered the most if say another one or two actual Best Picture nominees were added, like Dune, because I think that's where it would have gotten too much of like, oh, it's a good movie, I liked it, but I could see it easily getting like only one or two, maybe three nominees compared to however many it did get. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good opinion, dude. It's a good opinion. So, Angel Cake Entertainment. You want to tell more folks about that?
Yes, that is my YouTube channel. You can go check me out. I talk about the challenge as well as reality TV over at youtube.com/angelcakevids. We're having a good time over there in 2024 and growing as much as we can, as fast as we can. So I'm excited.
There you go. Folks, you already heard a little bit about it, but you can hear my review of Poor Things on this week's edition of the Waffle Box. And then, it's the original Waffle Box. You accept no substitutes, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'm getting out of here. So, for funniest man in the room, Drew Angelman, I've been Kush. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
Someone told Mark Ruffalo he's funny, and they were wrong.